powered by Riverside FM.
I don't know who you are, I don't know what you know, and I don't know what I'm supposed to tell you. These were the opening words that greeted me and my classmates in our first lecture in the second year of an economics course at university. The professor at the front of the room was new to the university, and whether by miscommunication, incompetence, or laziness, had clearly arrived at the lecture completely unprepared. In fact, I suspect that he had only found out at very short notice that he was indeed meant to be taking this particular lecture. In his defense, he owned the situation. He stood up front, was transparent about it, asked a few of the audience members a couple of questions, and then proceeded to busk it. With no clear view on what the syllabus was meant to be, he picked a topic he knew that he could deliver at ease and proceeded to give an intuitive explanation of the first theorem of welfare economics, something which is usually proved through heavy mathematics, which he instead cut down to some very simple intuition. We all made it through that first lecture. Unfortunately, the remainder of his classes that year were much more organized. The professor in question is Heracles Polymerakis. No, he's not an Agatha Christie detective. He is instead a Greek origin economics professor who also spent some time as the director of the economic office of the Prime Minister in Greece between 2009 and 2011. But I mention him here because he's the author of one of my favouritely titled economics papers. It's a paper entitled We Can't Disagree Forever, published in 1982 in the Journal of Economic Theory. The paper is much more theoretical than its title suggests. In it, he demonstrates if you have two individuals acting rationally, who are exchanging information, including objective information and information about their own experiences, ultimately, the two individuals must converge on a view about a particular topic. The intuition of this is that by sharing information and experiences, the individuals have the same inputs for their view formation. And ultimately, if you could share everything that you knew, then logically, you must both reach the same conclusions. Of course, this doesn't bear out in reality. It's not feasible to actually exchange all information that you know or all of your experiences, and this would only cater for situations about views on something. It wouldn't bear up for disagreements about, for example, who gets to eat the apple. Nevertheless, I wish all papers were this optimistically titled. More recently, he's published a paper entitled Rational Dialogues, in which he explains that all forms of conversation, no matter how bizarre, can be justified as a form of rational dialogue, providing they're being conducted by two rational agents, and that ultimately, again, you will reach convergence. Buried within this paper is one interesting feature. Where these rational agents are debating, they can continually update their views on a particular topic. For example, how likely it is that a certain party will win an election. However, as soon as one agent expresses something with absolute certainty, the other agent must immediately agree, regardless of their prior position. The logic of this is that both agents are rational, and that they will only be certain if they can be certain. Therefore, hearing that another rational agent is certain, you must immediately agree with them. This goes against our normal instinct that if we disagree with someone, and yet they express it with absolute certainty, I doubt we were more likely to suddenly agree with them. Ultimately, what can we take from these papers? Apart from being niche interest theoretical explorations, I think all they demonstrate is that ongoing dialogue and sharing of experiences is usually a positive and will often lead to convergence in views.